Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damango, Volta Premier in Ho, and A1 Radio in Bolgatanga. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, SuperSim, Build Your Dream, and Telesol 4G, just a touch. Coming up, CEO of troubled gold dealership firm Men's Gold, Nanapia Mensah, asks government to defreeze the company's assets and accounts.
That many of you crave African prosperity. So do I. So then I ask, which African today will build the next Egyptian pyramid?
We'll hear from him as he speaks out for the first time in 9 months. Bank of Ghana deploys staff at branches of 23 defunct financial institutions closed down last Friday as it begins process to help depositors retrieve their funds.
Bank of Ghana.
They said there is no money and that the Bank of Ghana is in charge, so we must fill a form and submit it.
We'll hear from some depositors and the Central Bank Plus president of the National House of Chiefs, who says the cleanup of the savings and loan sector could have been handled better.
The kind of the panic that we saw resulting from the way the process of handle itself was not good. It could have been managed a little better, and then the genuine ones who have done genuine lending could survive.
Also, 3 persons arrested in connection with the death of the Asante Hines Asampong Hene.
The late chief was murdered and his body deposited at the back seat of his Toyota Land Cruiser vehicle. Police have since commenced investigations into the case.
We'll take you live to the Ashanti region for details on the arrest. In sports,
Ghana Athletics chief Professor Francis Dodu wants the National Sports Authority to reconsider their posture towards his outfit.
And later, we'll tell you how a 1,000-kilometer charity bike ride by British High Commissioner to Ghana from Tumu to Accra is to be instituted as an annual event by the Tourism Ministry.
We are going to take a cue from it as a ministry and institute this bike ride as an annual event as part of our calendar of activities.
I'll tell you all about the climax of the Grand Tour here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And customers have waited for close to a year to hear the voice of the CEO of troubled gold dealership firm Men's Gold, Nana Apia Mensah, who last gave hope to the customers 9 months ago. Today, the man who was once described as a money doubler has been addressing the press on the state of affairs of the company and future plans. We'll touch base with our reporter who is currently at the press conference. But first, here's a wrap of the Men's Gold story.
Desperate, Men's Gold customers have once again besieged the company's Jolu office in Accra. The place has become a scene where angry clients go to vehemently negotiate to collect their investment funds and also vent their frustrations. The once loyal customers of Men's Gold pointed to another broken promise from management made in October 2018. That promise was to pay 5% of locked up investment of clients who registered for their new online trading platform. But again, this did not happen.
The guy tricked some of us. I paid the money, and up to now, that 5%, I haven't got that 5%. And the migration time also has ended. Look at me. I have children. My wife, I have a lot of people that are looking up to me. And now, look at me. The 5% too is here. Instead of them to come and pay me, they are not paying. I was here this morning, and the police has tortured me. Now I can't even drive my own car. Look at me.
Some also shared their untold stories of how difficult life has been for them.
Because we want people to die because of this thing. My mother, she's dying. If she's standing right in front of you, she'll just be urinating on herself because of this money.
For these few months, I've gone through a lot. Yes, I know.
This is a breaking news that we are getting. We got confirmation that as we speak, literally, a warrant to arrest Nam1 has now been issued.
It was the biggest announcement made, and perhaps some good news for customers of the gold dealership firm who were calling for the arrest of Nana Apia Mensah.
Nam1 is not above the law. If he's doing something that is not good, that's to arrest him and bring him.
The circuit court, which issued the warrant for the arrest of the CEO of the gold dealership firm, said Nam1 was wanted for defrauding by false pretense and also for money laundering.
And we are aware that Nana Piamensa is not in Ghana. So we have started the process of letting Interpol put him in the red note.
This information quickly led to government sending out a delegation to Dubai to press for the extradition of CEO of Men's Gold, Nana Piamensa. It was successful. Nana Appiah Mensah arrived in Ghana from Dubai on the 11th of July 2019 and was immediately arrested and put before court. The aggrieved customers stormed the court on the day of hearing to demand truncation of the criminal trial and allow him to pay back their locked-up funds. After going in and out of the courts over failure to meet bail conditions, Nana Appiah Mensah was finally out.
Our boss, the Chief Executive Officer of Men's Gold, Nana Appiah Mensah, is now a free man.
This brought joy to the customers who were already demanding a payment plan.
That they should set up the joint committee to come up with the payment plan that will lead to the final payment of the customers.
Now all they have to do is wait for what they have for months longed for, their monies.
So that's a wrap of the Men's Gold story so far, put together by my colleague Nancy Emefa Dradosi. Now let's head live to that press conference, and Maxwell Agbagba, my colleague, is there for us. So Maxwell, we know that he's made a number of demands, but did he say when customers will be paid?
Well, Emefa, Nana Appiah Mensah was not emphatic about the time he's going to pay his customers and when they should expect their deposits. He did not give timelines, as many of them would have expected. The refrain from his speech was that they will pay the customers very soon. And he says they continue to respect their sacrifice and that their reward will pay off very soon.
We have a bad connection to Maxwell Agbagba. We can barely hear him, but we'll establish connection to him again. And then we'll hear all about what's happening at the MJ Grand, where that press conference is currently being addressed by Nana Appiah Mensah. And he's made a number of demands, including asking government to defreeze all his assets and accounts. But we are told that he hasn't made an emphatic statement on when customers will be paid. Maxwell Agbagba will join us with a better line shortly, and then we'll get more from that press conference. You've also heard a wrap of events so far, and we'll hear from customers as well. But Maxwell Agbagba joins us back on the line. So Maxwell, you were telling us that he hasn't made an emphatic statement on when customers will be paid?
Exactly, Emefa. He has not made an emphatic statement on when customers will be paid. In fact, in his speech, he kept saying that they will be paid very soon. In fact, the word is very soon. The keywords are very, very soon. So during the question time, a lot of journalists have been trying to find out if he can give specific timelines as to when the customers should expect, their monies. But he still insisted that it is going to be very soon. Now, contrary to what many were saying, that Nana Appiah Mensah actually escaped from the country, he is saying that he did not escape from Ghana. He said on the day that he traveled outside the country, he visited the offices of Yoko and then informed them about his departure from the country and signed some documents before he left Ghana. He said he first of all visited Europe, went to Asia before he finally landed, in Dubai. He says his confident government will fast track the resolution of this case. And when he was asked also how he feels about, the fraud tag on Men's Gold now, he says he's okay because even Jesus Christ faced persecution.
Well, amongst others also, we must have heard him say that he wants government's help to retrieve monies that he got from Dubai. Tell us a bit more about it.
Well, he's making 3 demands, and as part of the 3 demands, he says, one, government should assist Men's Gold to be able to make full recovery of the monies owed them by Horizon Royal Diamond, in Dubai, the reason for which he traveled and the reason for which he was at a point incarcerated. He's also asking government to help the company assess, to assess their assets to enable them settle their liabilities. He's also asking government to give clear directions on what they expect of Men's Gold, who really are their regulators, and what the rules and regulations are governing Men's Gold space in the past.
Now, tell us whether customers masked up today at the venue of this press conference.
Well, surprisingly, not many of them are here. What we have seen here, rather, is tight security. A lot of police vehicles are parked outside the MJ Grand Hotel, the venue for the press conference. In fact, whilst we were seated in there, we went through about 3 checks before we allowed into the venue where the press conference was going to take place. We were seated then when some personnel from the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service came inside, told us to all step out again for us to be searched once again before we were allowed inside. They told us specifically that they were not going to allow any backpacks, inside the auditorium or within the auditorium where the press conference was taking place. So really, customers, not many of them are gathered here at the MJ Grand Hotel. What we are seeing is tight security. We've seen a lot of personnel from the counter-terrorism unit of the Ghana Police Service providing some kind of security for what is happening here.
We had there my colleague Maxwell Agbagba giving us a minute-by-minute account of what's happening at that press conference. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Police in the Savannah and Upper East Regions Command have arrested 2 persons believed to be masterminds of last week's violence in Lukula, a community in the North Gonja district. The residents fled the community after gunmen forced them out of the area and set their homes on fire following disagreements over the construction of a mosque. 2 people were killed during the clash, and the masterminds were believed to have fled to Sandema, leading to the arrest this morning. We'll get details of the arrest shortly, but more than 100 people displaced in the violence are still without help. The District Security Council puts the number of houses destroyed at 26. Chairman of the Region Security Council, Salifu Brima, says NADMO will have to step in.
At the time, around 10 p.m., counted about 26 houses that were touched, plus a grinding mill in that community.
And we understand people have fled the community.
When we're moving, we're meeting unfortunate women and children moving out of the community. It's so sad. I'm in touch with the security on the ground. They say the people are going back.
But these homes have been destroyed. How are they going to cope? Is there any support for them?
We now have to appeal to NADMO to get inside. We are working around the clock to see what is possible.
So about how many people have been displaced in this?
At the time of counting, we don't have the exact figures, but you can say more than about 100.
You heard there the Savannah Regional Minister Salifu Brima there. Now, Ilyasu Tanko is our Northeast correspondent, and he joins me on the line with details. So, Ilyasu, first tell us about the security situation in the area.
Hi, we still have armed security, police and military standing guard at the community as we speak. We are told that they are patrolling beyond the local community because, as we understand it right now, there's still some tension around that particular area. So the security there are still in that particular place, patrolling the whole area. In fact, we are dealing with numerous of communities in that area that are involved in this particular conflict, and so the security are not patrolling only the local community.
Well, but what are the residents saying? Where are they putting up now as we speak?
That's very tough for them. We've been able to speak to a number of them in the community. As you understand, they are currently living with some of their family and friends, and others have moved from the local community to communities like Memphis and Mankargo, and that is where they are putting up with their relatives.
So, briefly then, tell us about the details of the arrest of these 2 persons.
Well, we understand these 2 persons who shot, who killed, the 2 persons on Thursday attack, fled the community to Sandema, which is in the Upper East region. And the police in that particular area and those in Savannah area did their collaboration and arrested them. As we speak, they are currently preparing them to send them to Damago, the Savannah regional capital.
Well, that's my colleague Ilyasu Tanko there. Now, former Inspector General of Police IGP David Asante-Apietu has asked senior officers of the service not to destroy relationships they've built because of their desire to become an IGP. Speaking at the Thanksgiving service held in his honor here in Accra, Mr. Asante-Apietu added lobbying for the position is not a guarantee they would be picked, and emphasized the ultimate responsibility on who becomes IGP is the president's prerogative.
I will humbly advise, however, it's not to outmaneuver and over-lobby for it. You will certainly retire from the service. Do not strive to achieve this aim at all costs, at the expense, decades of friendship that you have built. Again, for what is written, and it shall come to pass.
You heard there the former Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apietu. Now let's head to the Ashanti region and stay on security issues, because the Ashanti region police have arrested 3 people in connection with the death of the Asante Henens Asampong Hene. The body of 46-year-old Nana Kwejo Afojo was found in the back seat of his Toyota Land Cruiser vehicle at Ebom on the Ejura Nkranza Highway last night with multiple stab wounds. Ohiming Teria has details in the following report.
This appears to be the final destination of Otunfo's Asampohene, who was murdered in cold blood in what police suspect to be contract killing. We have been speaking to eyewitnesses who tell us, first, the vehicle appeared to be in motion to enter into a ditch, and the farmer who was on his farm followed up, but the occupants moved the vehicle upwards towards the Nkranza direction from Ejura to about 300 meters, and this is where the vehicle landed. These are 2 strong rocks. They have tilted, they have moved from their location, shifted backwards, indicating that there was struggle or an accident, and this appeared to have, pulled up the brakes on the vehicle. So the vehicle stopped here, and the occupants, we are told, set the vehicle on fire.
We saw that this Land Cruiser was on fire. So I stopped and the other vehicles too stopped. And I brought my fire extinguisher and they brought theirs, and we managed to put the fire off. So when we put the fire off, we opened the back gate and realized somebody was dead in the car. So I quickly took my car and went back to Ashayim, which is a village nearby, and reported to the go.
And 3 persons have since been arrested. You heard the Ohiming Terrier's report. We'll go live to the Ashanti region shortly, yes, and when we're able to reach my colleague Ohiming Terrier. But let's talk about the never-ending banking crisis, because the Bank of Ghana has this morning deployed staff at branches of 23 defunct financial institutions closed down last Friday as it begins process to help depositors retrieve their funds. The central bank revoked the licenses of the institutions last Friday, insisting they were not solvent. Receiver for the 23 financial institutions that have had their licenses revoked have been giving details on managing the process from this morning. They argued that the required structures have been instituted to handle depositors from this morning. Kingsford Arthur is the Director of Operations for the receivership.
As a first step is to make sure that we are in complete control of all the assets of the company. So things like books and records, things like the vehicles, basically understanding the day one of the process. Then, as you would basically expect, most the depositors will rush in to come and see where their deposits are. And we've put in place measures to ensure that proof of debt forms are available. That would require each depositor to give us some basic information, your name, your contact details, how much you think is in there, your mode of payment if you want to expect payment or if you can get payment. Quite a detailed form, and would expect that they fill these and then return them to us, which I'm hoping can be done this week. And then we would start the validation. And I'm not saying that we'll start the validation after everybody has submitted. Once a form is submitted, we will deal with that form and so on and so forth.
Meanwhile, validation of depositors' claims is set to begin this morning at all branches of the affected financial institutions. Some of these customers are already at the premises trying to get access to their funds. Let's cross over to the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, where Love FM's Prince Apia has been to the premises of these affected companies. So, Prince, what's the situation as you saw it?
Yeah, most of these institutions I've visited have opened. There are officials of the Bank of Ghana available there. There are these documents of the receivership over the customers coming, and they are asked to fill these forms and they leave. A few of the institutions, though, one branch of GN Savings and Loans I visited, the officials of Bank of Ghana had not come there. So some few customers that come, they are relayed the information that the Bank of Ghana officials are not there. They should come back later for the documents, then they will fill. So I managed to speak to one of the customers who was hearing this information for the first time and was not happy about the situation.
And then buy almost this kind of it's a Bank of Ghana and it's 100.
This has happened already, so I didn't want to save with them. They said there is no money and that the Bank of Ghana is in charge, so we must fill a form and submit it. They also said they don't own the company anymore. I am really hurt. I don't know what to do. I owe someone. I must pay. I also need money for business.
Now, the receiver, Eric Nananipa, has been explaining the process that customers must follow to gain access to their funds.
As early as 7 o'clock, they will show up at the various branches. But I've put in place an elaborate process called the creditor administrative process. We have men on the ground waiting and willing to serve the public, particularly the depositors. So George gets to the branch where he operates his account with. You definitely would meet my men who would service you. They have forms, claim forms. They set out your bio details, which you must fill. Then we have the second column where it sets out amounts owed, how much is owed to you, and details thereof. Then we have the third section, and the third section sets out your bank as well as for your mobile money, a transfer number. These are the details that are on that sheet, that claim sheets. You fill them, you attach the necessary documentation, and then you present them at the branch where you initially took them from, because we have people there.
Eric Nananipa is a receiver for the financial institutions that have had their licenses revoked. Now, Group Indum has released a statement disputing some of the claims made by the central bank in its notice announcing the revocation of the licenses. My colleague Joseph Akable joins me in studio with more on this. So, Joseph, first, the Bank of Ghana had stated that the $62 million of depositors' fund was transferred to a company owned by Group Indum outside Ghana. How does the company respond to this?
They make the point in that part of the statement that we have not transferred customer funds abroad as alleged in the public notice. It goes on to say that International Business Solutions provides a variety of services including procurement and management consulting. IBS purchased vehicles, generators, stationery, manufacturing raw materials, computers and a variety of other products for sister companies such as GN Savings, Coconut Grove Hotels, among others. It says that the products purchased by IBS, vehicles by company managers, and hundreds of bright yellow AXA generators are all here in Ghana in plain sight. They were imported and all required foreign currency. And the foreign currency was purchased using the funds of the depositors that required them and not the deposits of the hundreds of thousands of other GN Savings customers.
Now, how about the bit about government debt? Now, the BOG said government had verified just 30 million, aside from the fact that the other debts were due other companies under Group Indum and not the Savings and Loans Company.
They make the point that they are surprised that government and the Bank of Ghana, for that matter, will not admit to the fact that there are various sums of money that government owes that needs to pay them, and that if that amount of money had been paid, the company will be solvent. So they insist that their money is in excess of 400 million and not the 30 million that the Bank of Ghana said had been validated for now.
Now, finally, the company admits to closing down some of its branches, as the BOG had stated.
No, they make the point that they had actually intended to suspend operations in some of the branches. They wrote to the Bank of Ghana asking for permission to do so. The Bank of Ghana is yet to respond, and so they are surprised that they'll go ahead to say that they have closed down the branches without informing them.
So that's a Group Indum in that statement given us by Joseph Akable. Thank you, Joseph. Well, the Bank of Ghana has debunked claims that government's failure to pay monies owed GN banks and GN Savings and Loans caused this collapse. Elliot Amwako is Deputy Director of Banking Supervision Department.
These debts that are owed to it are not owed directly to the bank. These were owed to affiliate companies of GN. The bank indicated to us that they would assign to the bank if government pays them these funds. These were not loans that the savings and loans or when it was even a bank was granted. These were from affiliate companies. And then we had realized that GN was exposed to its affiliates. But having given them all the time, up till now, from when they were downgraded to a savings and loan, up till now, we realized that these funds are not coming. And the vulnerable depositors were at risk. That is the story behind GN.
Now, a major concern that has been raised relates to the fate of hundreds previously employed by the affected companies. Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma says government expects those who have lost their jobs to find new ones as the economy grows.
Questions about jobs. I think broadly for us as a government, the view is that as we continue to work to grow the economy and create expansion in many other aspects of the economy, all Ghanaians who are in search of a job, regardless of how the particular organization in which they were working turned out, should be able to find economic space.
Now, President of the National House of Cheese and former Chairman of the National Investment Bank, Togbe Apede, says the 14 days of the cleanup of the savings and loan sector could have been handled better. According to him, a less destructive and scientific approach could have saved the sector.
Many savings and loans will cave in when they must not. Sometimes just the set off alone cleans up the books. And so what injection of money is needed is so much smaller. So the kind of the panic that we saw resulting from the way the process was handled itself was not good. It could have been managed a little better, and then the genuine ones who have done genuine lending could survive just by their debts being set off here and there because they owe somebody.
But meanwhile, the President Akufo-Addo has blamed what he calls rot in the banking sector or poor governance and financial malfeasance, among others. We'll get to hear from him shortly. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. When we return, we'll tell you how a 1,000-kilometer charity bike ride by British High Commissioner to Ghana from Tumu to Accra is to be instituted as an annual event by the Tourism Ministry. Right back.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Masa, Ghana, so we pay correct medicine pa. And you make us super. Me a super medicine and kasa. Because our job no and better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super same cement at the use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa. Inti me cranks in from because super. Because me the super same cement and DVD ra.
Super Same Cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Same Cement. Build your dream. Build.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time now for sports. Benedict.
Now re-elected Athletics President Professor Francis Dodu has called on the National Sports Authority to reconsider their posture towards his outfit. Now, the NSA distanced itself from the elective Congress. We saw Professor Dodu re-elected in Tamale over the weekend. He wants the sport governing body to take a look at their posture towards his outfit.
Over the last 8 months, it's been really interesting to see the position of the National Sports Authority. Here is the National Sports Authority, who was a plaintiff, who was a defendant in this case. So basically, the plaintiffs took us, GA, and the National Sports Authority to court. Yeah. And yet, the National Sports Authority inserted itself as though they were an intermediary.
Athletics re-elected President Professor Francis Dodu. You hear more from him when you join us at 1 on Sports Track with Gary R. Smith.
Now let's talk about the Grand Tour, because the 1,000-kilometer charity bike ride by British High Commissioner to Ghana, Ian Walker, from Tumu to Accra is to be instituted as an annual event by the Tourism Ministry. There's more in this report.
The final lap of a 1,000-kilometer bike ride on the Ghana Grand Tour by British High Commissioner to Ghana, Ian Walker, would have more participants eager to race the remaining 19 or so kilometers to glory from Tema to Accra.
It's for a good purpose, for health especially, and it gives you the opportunity to tour Ghana as well.
It's a great thing he's doing. I'm here to support, financially as well.
A beautiful mix of celebrities, ambassadors, business executives, and cycling enthusiasts who did not make the 981 kilometers from Tumu through Wa, Tamale, Salaga, Dambai.
You hear the full report, all the accounts later on in our subsequent bulletins. But the man, Kojo Youngson, made it through. I don't know if he actually did 1,000 kilometers, but he's joined me in the studio. Are you sure you made 1,000 kilometers?
Well, absolutely not. There's no way I could have done that. Okay. But I did ride on and off throughout the whole trip.
You darkened though.
Yes, the sun was blazing above us every single day, and yes, it certainly affected my my complexion.
Okay, so we'll talk about it more on Newsnight. I can't wait to host you on Newsnight. And that's Kojo Yanks again. That's how we wrap up this afternoon's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am MFAPO. Do enjoy your weekend. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
Promo, I had